a lot of emotional stuff, relationship stuff, financial stuff, kind of the three main food groups, you know. So let's just start with locking into possibility. Now, what does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, you don't want to lock into impossibility. It's like that book Michio Kaku wrote called The Physics of Impossibility. And I was all excited about it, but it was all about the things you couldn't do. And we don't want that kind of physics of impossibility. We also don't want to go for pie in the sky probability either, but we also don't want to settle for less. So it's kind of a funny little tightrope that we walk. So physical patterns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Huh, more than it's mentioned here. 20, 21, 22. 22 physical patterns. That's surprising because a lot of what you guys wrote had to do with emotional states and relationship stuff. So, okay. So let me, I'm going to map that, and I'll show you the map. In fact, if you want it, you can watch me draw it. So we're going to map the physical patterns because, okay, so it looks like a lot of it is up in the head and neck area. Could be endocrine. It doesn't look too bad in some ways. I'll show you this. It looks kind of, it looks kind of coherent. When I say coherent, even though this looks kind of like a mess here, you see it? But look at these symmetries that are inherent within what I drew there. Now, what I drew is just tracking a pattern and then following the information. And my hand draws the pattern, and my mind is basically just out of the way. So I was going to say, Kay was saying you may feel this, you may do that. Maybe you'll think nothing and feel everything. Now, there's a possibility too. Okay, so my hand's going into this pattern. So this pattern is kind of a general module, which, by the way, we're going to be up and running and teaching holosets, which is the holosynchronous technology system, energy technology systems, starting right in January. So the help module comes up, or holo emotional light patterns. So it looks like, let's see if I can get this centered. It looks like this, that middle one, and it's got this beautiful characteristic to it. I'll read to you while I'm working with it. It's our Jedi mind trick. This module allows you to map the terrain of a person's unconscious patterns. These patterns can be accessed geometrically arranged around the body in a 360-degree kind of sphere. And so it's like, I gave a metaphor in, and I'm working on this while I'm talking, by the way. I gave a metaphor in Italy, I think it was, or no, it was Germany, where I said, well, what if you were blind and you depend on being able to find everything in your room by how you've arranged the furniture? You know where all the edges of the coffee table is, you know where everything is, so you don't trip over it, fall, and surprise yourself. You know where the light switch is. Well, what if you went away, and if you came back, and all the furniture was rearranged so that nothing was in the same place anymore? Well, here's the thing. It appears from my research that our emotional states, our beliefs, even our patterns of probability in health and disease, etc., are aligned around us 360 degrees in a sphere. It's individual for each one of us. No one size fits all, as Frank Zappa might say. And so you can find those things dependably. When you want to go to depression, you know right where it is. If you want to go to excited, elated, sexual, whatever, all these things are aligned, and they're dependably in the same place, so that you go into the filing cabinet and those things are right there where you left them. Well, what if the maid came in, or a person you've hired came in and cleaned everything, moved everything? I remember watching Sherlock, the BBC version with Bernard Cumberbatch, and he got all upset with the housekeeper because she moved everything. She dusted his shelves, and he depended upon knowing where everything was by the layers of the dust, and he knew which layer of dust contained which information. So it was that organized, but it appeared disorganized. So that's how we all are. We've got these layers and layers of dust, to our emotional states. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm still tracking. I'm tracking into this pattern, which represents all of us, including me, physical patterns, but we're going to track it through the emotional body, the so-called emotional body. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we got 7 states that we can move around with. Of course, there's allegedly 7 chakras. I don't know if that has anything to do with this. We're going to move this around, though. Start playing with it. And it's kind of like, in this case, the way this feels, it's like a cork in a champagne bottle, which is under pressure, or a jar that's screwed on too tight and not quite, screwed on correctly. And so we want to start to, or ratchet a bolt that's kind of rusted. We need to ratchet it back and forth to loosen it. So we need to loosen up some of this old emotional debris. Garbage is what I want to call some of it. So we're just kind of going back and forth. Okay, things are starting to move a little bit now. Now, when things move, and you can follow this with me, when they start to move, it starts to feel like there's an opening around you or within you. Your mind might get a lot quieter. You may feel more spacious inside. Your emotions may calm down. You may go to look for a particular problem or a way of thinking about a particular problem, which is more to the effect, and you won't be able to find it. And I think that should be all right. I think it's going to be okay with everybody if that happens. Okay, so physical, emotional, there it is. So I'm going to play with this. Now, some of this feels fragile, like glass. It's about 3 people that have this pattern that are kind of in rapport with the way they structure things. There are templates for reality. There's templates for everything. So you can have a template that kind of matches the general cultural expression or religious expression or even financial expressions. Let's move that around a bit. Just free it up and move it. There we go. I'm just going to tweak that some more. There we go. That's nice. Now let's rock back and forth. I'm going to do it in my chair, actually, because some of this stuff is pretty old and pretty encrusted. Imagine what it would be like if you went to sleep and you woke up and you couldn't remember your history. You didn't know who you were, you didn't know how you got there, but you didn't feel scared. You still had general knowledge about everything, but you've forgotten everything that, quote, ever happened to you. Except for the funny thing is kind of like the born thing. You still have all your skills. So what if we could have something like that shift? So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. That's a little different. I can even feel that in my cranial areas opening up.